Do you know how much the Mavericks must hate Luka? This is what they're talking about in the league.
With what's left of your Laker tenure.
You said that like I'm about to.
No, I mean,
J Kid didn't know about it. But J Kid and I are aligned and we talk about archetypes.
It's very rare for me to do this, but last night when the Luka Doncic trade officially happened, I just tried to get you guys my analysis and get you guys the news as soon as possible. But now, after a day has passed and the dust has sort of cleared out for this entire trade, I want to bring you guys a follow-up video on it and just cover each and every angle that we may not have covered in the first video, give you the reaction of all the general managers, all the players involved, both fan bases, and give you more of an insight as to what the future of each team is going to look like. I personally felt like this trade was necessary because I felt like I missed a lot in my original video. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications to get the latest NBA news to your device. And now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Today's video is sponsored by PrizePicks. They're running a Super Bowl free square for Patrick Mahomes. Lately, I've been doing really well with my picks. I've been averaging at minimum a pick a day, and I've been making my followers a lot of money. I pretty much discovered that if you run 4-man power plays and you hit at least 1 out of every 10 4-man power plays, you 10x your money. So you break even if you hit 1 out of every 10 of your power plays, meaning you only need to hit 2 out of every 10 of your power plays to make money. So far, I've been averaging about 4 out of every 10 of my power plays hitting, and my results speak for itself. People have been hitting me up in my DMs thanking me as well. If you want to give it a shot, I give away my picks on Instagram at TheFlightMike. And if you haven't signed up for PrizePicks, make sure you use my promo code microphone to get a free $50 when you make a play of $5 or more. And thank you, PrizePicks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? One thing I've always been notorious for on this YouTube channel is predicting that one day Luka Doncic will become a Laker. They called me a madman for this because as early as 2 years ago, I was photoshopping Luka Doncic in a Laker jersey. At the time, one of my comments said, "I am so tired of YouTubers having a random NBA star who might or might not leave their team in a Laker jersey on the thumbnail." No offense, Flight Mike, but it's just corny at this point, man. This is like the second time this happened for me. I also photoshopped Karl Anthony Towns in a New York Knicks jersey in the beginning of last season, and that ended up working. But I will admit, this wasn't as obvious, and this hit everyone like a truck, except for maybe Anthony Davis, because the Lakers may have indirectly told AD that he might be getting traded.
Does it make you think about what you're accomplishing here? Or maybe what you could accomplish with what's left of your Laker tenure?
You said that like I'm about to.
No, I mean,
Now, the number one question that everyone has been having is why on earth would the Mavericks trade Luka Doncic? I mean, after he was able to do this in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, in a series that everyone thought that the Timberwolves would win and eventually make it to the NBA Finals, Luka Doncic was able to hit this incredible buzzer beater game winner to win Game 2 and eventually take the Dallas Mavericks to the NBA Finals. There's no question about it that he is a superstar and a potential future face of the NBA. Since entering the NBA in 2018, he's a 5-time NBA All-Star. He's made it to the All-NBA First Team 5 times, and he was the NBA scoring champion last year. You can make a very legitimate argument that he's not even in his prime yet, and he turns 26 at the end of the month. So how on earth and why on earth would the Mavericks trade him?
But all us talking heads, they must know something we don't know, because he's been hurt. Everybody complains about his conditioning. But once you give a guy 5 years, $350 million, y'all are stuck together for life.
I mean, if you try to make this trade in NBA 2K, the general manager will laugh at you.
Okay, let's see if this works. Anthony Davis, Max Christie, 2029 first round pick for Luka, Maxey, Kleber, and Markieff Morris. There's no way this works. There's no way. You're asking me to give away a valuable asset when none of the assets I get back seem nearly as valuable. That's not happening.
But even furthermore, what doesn't make a lot of sense in this particular instance is if you compare this trade, which features Luka Doncic, Maxey Kleber, and Markieff Morris going to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first round pick, a lot of the package just simply doesn't make sense. There's no question about it. Anthony Davis is a top 10 player in the NBA, and fans would be very quick to point out that that the Mavericks were very worried about Luka Doncic's conditioning. I mean, we talked about it in our video yesterday. The Mavs had major concerns about moving forward with Luka Doncic due to his consistent conditioning issues and the looming commitment of another Supermax contract extension this summer, sources tell ESPN. Mavs general manager Nico Harrison even mentioned that, "I believe defense wins championships. I believe that getting an all-defensive center and an all-NBA player with a defensive mindset gives us a better chance. We're built to win now and in the future." And it's just really interesting because the Los Angeles Lakers had similar concerns about Anthony Davis. According to Sam Amick, league sources say that there were concerns about Anthony Davis's durability and availability and a belief that he could never truly be counted on as a top option in the future. And while his approval rating was high, it had not been forgotten how in those days before the decision was made to fire former coach Darvin Ham in early May 2024, the known threat of a possible Davis trade request loomed so large when it came to their internal calculus. The pressure on that front had been rising for quite some time. I'm sure you guys remember during the 2024 NBA playoffs versus the Denver Nuggets, Anthony Davis wasn't really happy with Darvin Ham.
We have stretches where we just don't know what we're doing on both ends of the floor.
And what Amex is saying is that the Lakers were so scared of Anthony Davis demanding a trade eventually that they fired Darvin Ham just to appease him. But bear in mind that Anthony Davis has a history of getting banged up as well. His latest injury being an abdominal strain that the team announced Wednesday that would sideline Davis for at least a week. He's also been playing through a left foot plantar fasciitis and right calf muscle discomfort. So both of these players have had injury issues, but the one thing that I just can't understand is the trade package in general. You can't really quantify who's more injured between Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis, but there's no question about it that Anthony Davis has significantly more miles on him than Luka Doncic. They're both all NBA talents, but there's no question about it that one of these players can potentially play in the NBA for a significantly longer time than the other. It's not a crazy thing to presume that Luka Doncic could be playing at an all NBA level in his mid-30s, especially considering that an NBA player doesn't reach his prime until he's 27. And when you just take a look at the reaction of the entire world, I mean, Nico Harrison proposed this trade to the Los Angeles Lakers. Rob Pelinka said, "Nah, you're joking, right?" And then when Nico Harrison told the Mavs governor, Patrick Dumont, about the idea to trade Luka, he apparently laughed at him. So something really has to be going on here. But at this point, we already know a huge reason why the Mavericks wanted to trade Doncic was because of concerns of his conditioning. I'm sure you guys saw that viral clip of Luka Doncic enjoying a beer after winning the Western Conference Finals and going to the NBA Finals, only for that beer to get confiscated from him. But on top of that, Mark Stein even mentions that he was targeting a February 8th return from his calf strain, but long-term concerns about conditioning are said to have factored into Dallas's shocking change of course. Now Anthony Davis will partner Kyrie Irving, and the Lakers have their heir to LeBron James. Now, even with this rationale, being concerned about Luka's injuries, trading him for an older yet injury-prone star doesn't really make sense, and if they did, you should get significant draft compensation to make up for the fact that you could build around Luka Doncic for years to come, especially considering the fact that that 2029 first-round pick could become weaker if Luka Doncic is still on the Los Angeles Lakers, which, by the way, is a huge if. The Lakers swung a huge trade for Dwight Howard in the 2013 season, only for Dwight Howard to leave one season later. I mean, it still is possible, although I don't really know how likely it could be. But I think my biggest issue with this trade, if I'm a Mavericks fan, is the fact that the Mavericks reportedly only brought this trade to the Lakers' attention. Now, why is beyond me, because I feel like the Mavericks should have gotten significantly more for Doncic. Once again, Anthony Davis, all NBA level talent. Is he injury prone? Yes. How many good years does he have left in the NBA? Remains to be seen. It could be anywhere from 3 years and plus. The main basis of my argument here is the fact that when you take a look at other major trades that have happened recently in the NBA, I mean, we don't even have to go that far. Just take a look at the Mikal Bridges trade. The New York Knicks acquired Mikal Bridges from the Brooklyn Nets for Bojan Bogdanovic, Shake Milton, 4 unprotected first-round picks, a unprotected pick swap in 2028, a top 4 protected first-round 2025 pick from the Bucks, and a second-round pick in 2025. I mean, what about the Rudy Gobert trade? In this case, the Minnesota Timberwolves traded for a 29-year-old traditional center in Rudy Gobert. Bear in mind that although he was a multi-year defensive player of the year at the time, Gobert's value was diminishing significantly because there were questions of whether or not not his style of play would translate in modern NBA offenses in 2022. But still, despite that, the Utah Jazz received Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Leandro Bolmaro, Walker Kessler, Jared Vanderbilt, 4 first-round picks, and a pick swap for Rudy Gobert. Again, they weren't receiving an all-NBA level talent in return when you consider the fact that Luka turns 26 at the end of February and Anthony Davis is 6 years older than him, and they both have some injury concerns, and the fact that the Lakers' 2029 first-round pick might not be as valuable anymore. There's definitely a question of if the Mavericks got less than what they should have gotten for Luka Doncic. I mean, the final example I have here is the Damian Lillard trade, right? The Milwaukee Bucks received Damian Lillard, the Trailblazers got DeAndre Ayton, Tamani Kamara, Drew Holiday, a 2029 first-round pick, and 2 first-round pick swaps with the Bucks. The Suns got Grayson Allen, Keon Johnson, Nasir Little, and Yusuf Nurkic. Now, this is an example of getting a significant amount of high-value role players and even a potential young star, heavy emphasis on the quotations when I say young star with DeAndre Ayton, and they're able to flip Drew Holiday to the Boston Celtics for Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, and 2 additional first-round picks. And you'll understand why I believe that the balance of this trade just simply isn't there. And I guess I'm really skeptical in this particular case, even though I'm a Laker fan, because they didn't approach any other team, meaning they didn't hit up the Houston Rockets and see if they would be willing to part with Alperen Şengün or Jalen Green or Amin Thompson or Jabari Smith. They didn't hit up the Oklahoma City Thunder to see if they would be willing to part with any of their multiple future first-round picks. I mean, screw all of that. They didn't hit up the San Antonio Spurs, who have a treasure chest of draft picks that have an incredibly bright future, to see if they could have gotten Chris Paul and multiple valuable first-round picks for the future. They didn't hit up the Milwaukee Bucks to see if Giannis Antetokounmpo was available. If you understand the gravity of this trade, Luka Doncic is thought to be untouchable and a player that you could build a franchise around, and yet the Dallas Mavericks only hit up the Los Angeles Lakers? I can understand why Jason Kidd looks like he wants to end his general manager over here.
You mentioned you think this will work in the short term and the long term.
Bro, look at his face, like he's already doing a face palm here.
Well, I think the long term is the time frame. I think he.
Dude, Jason Kidd is not buying any of this. Just look at his face. I mean, he looks like he's about to crash out on his general manager.
And win in the future. And
look at this.
3-4 years from now, the future, 10 years from now, I don't know. I don't think they probably bury me and Jay by then.
Did he say that as a result of this trade, he thinks that the Mavericks are going to be competitive 10 years from now when Anthony Davis is going to be 42 years old? I mean, the fan bases of both sides are going crazy. Mavericks fans have an angry mob at this point. Laker fans are celebrating and girlfriends everywhere are being neglected.
Bro, did you just see this trade the Lakers did? We just traded AD for Luka Doncic. Dude, I swear to God.
And the biggest argument for why they did this was apparently Luka Doncic was pushing 270 pounds after his injury, and the Mavericks continued to worry about his conditioning. But even if that's the case, he had so much value that I feel like you could have gotten more. How often are generational talents like Luka Doncic available like this? So there's no question about it that Luka Doncic loses a significant amount of money as a result of this trade. He was eligible for a $345 million Supermax contract. Now he can only sign a 5-year, $219 million deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. These are his options currently. I think he's the only player in NBA history to get a rookie Supermax contract extension after his original 4-year contract was up with the Mavericks. He's eligible for a contract extension on August 2nd for a $228.6 million contract extension. If he enters free agency, he could sign a 4-year, $219.4 million contract. And if he wants to do a 2+1 extension, he could sign for a $165.3 million contract and then hit the market in 2028 to 2029, where he signs a 5-year, $418 million contract. That's before you consider the fact that he's moving to LA from Dallas. The state of Texas has no state income tax. California has one of the most aggressive state income taxes. I mean, I know all in all, Luka Doncic is going to do fine money-wise, but there's a reason why Brian Windhorst says this.
If I had an all-star, current NBA all-star text me and say, do you know how much the Mavericks must hate Luka? This is what they're talking about in the league.
Luka's dad was very frustrated, and Luka's statement is very heartbreaking as well. Luka's dad said, "With this trade, hypocrisy from the Mavs hurts me personally. I think Luka absolutely did not deserve this. I know he sacrificed a lot, and I know Luka really respected Dallas." And then, of course, you have Luka Doncic's statement where he says, "Dear Dallas, 7 years ago, I came here as a teenager to pursue my dream of playing basketball at the highest level. I thought I'd spend my career here, and I wanted so badly to bring you a championship. The love and support you all have given me is more than I could have ever dreamed of. For a young kid from Slovenia coming to the US for the first time, you made North Texas feel like home. In good times and bad, from injuries to the NBA Finals, your support never changed. Thank you for not only sharing my joy in our best moments, but also for lifting me up when I needed it most. To all the organizations I've worked with throughout the Dallas community, thank you for letting me contribute to your important work and join you in bringing light to those who need it. As I start the next part of my basketball journey, I am leaving a city that will always feel like a home away from home. Dallas is a special place, and Mavs fans are special fans. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, Luka." I am still in shock that this trade happened. I'm not mad about it at all whatsoever. Again, I said in my last video that I think the Lakers do get weaker in the short term, but you have your future face of your franchise as a result of this trade. Although it does destroy the opportunity to potentially win an NBA Finals this year, despite, for some reason, the Lakers championship odds shooting up. Now, whether or not the Lakers are competitive this year really depends on what they do in the days leading up to the trade deadline. I personally am predicting that the Los Angeles Lakers trade either Austin Reeves or Dalton Connect or one of their guards as a result of adding a brand new ball handler to try to bolster their front court. The dream for Los Angeles Laker fans is Walker Kessler. I don't know how the hell they'll pull that off, but after seeing this, I'm really a believer that anything can happen. This is the most shocking trade since the Pau Gasol trade of 2008 for me. But if that doesn't happen, I could also see the Lakers trading for Robert Williams to try to bolster their front court. At the end of the day, things got way spicier this week in the NBA. General managers are expecting way more trades as a result of this domino falling. We're going to cover each and every trade as soon as it happens on this channel, so make sure you're subscribed and have our notifications on. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.